In the previous example, which I called the house concept, the seller of the house used what's called the covered call. That is, that the right that was sold to the tenant, in essence, was covered or secured by the property, or in this case, the house. In this section, I'm going to take you a little deeper into understanding covered calls and showing you the real beauty of how you can make money by just simply owning stock, whereby you can make 3 to 5% every 6 weeks. That's per trade. Now, based on every 6 weeks, that's over 43% annually. That's straightforward interest, not compounded. This strategy of using covered calls is so safe, the government will let you actually use it in your individual retirement account, your IRA. I call this section the Key Lady story. The reason for this will become more apparent as we continue. In late spring of 2001, I had to get some keys made. The person assisting me behind the counter was a lady. She looked like she could have been in her mid to late 50s. I had a whole boatload of keys with me, so I brought a book just in case. I had about 20 to 30 keys that had to be made, so I knew I'd be there for quite some time. As I proceeded to read my book, the lady asked me, what was I reading? And I said to her, a book on the stock market. And without hesitation, she proudly volunteered that she had inherited 500 shares of IBM approximately 20 years ago. At this news, my mind quickly started to race, for I knew that IBM had split at least 2, possibly 3 times, and was currently going for about $100 per share. I'm going to change gears for a moment and discuss stock splits. Many times companies will offer dividends in the form of what's called a stock split. Instead of issuing additional cash or sums of money, they will issue you additional stock. This is how it works. The most common type of stock split is what's called a 2-for-1 stock split. For example, if you had one stock or one share at $50 a share, you would then have 2 shares at $25 each. There are other types of stock splits, 2 for 3, 3 for 2, but the most common type is a 2-for-1. A lot more rare is a 5-for-1 stock split, but back to 2-for-1 split. Once again, the price is cut in 2, but your number of shares is doubled. Now, one of the benefits of a stock split is that over time, the stock will then eventually return to the original pre-split price. Sometimes that could take up to 5 years, but I've seen as short as 6 weeks. But that's very rare. Now back to the Key Lady. Sometimes when a person mentions 20 years ago, in reality it could be 19, or as much as 22 years. But I decided to think conservatively and go with 19. In any case, I knew for sure that she had at least had one split, so her 500 shares had become, conservatively, at least 1,000 shares. Now, based on the current stock price at the time of IBM, she at least owned $100,000 of IBM stock and could generate income by selling call options on her IBM stock. Once again, when dealing with covered calls, you are selling the right for somebody to buy your stock at a predetermined price, called the strike price. It is a right, not an obligation. Now, at the time, the $105 price, or strike price, was going for about $10 a share. She could have sold the $110 strike price for $5 a share. Now, if you multiply these numbers by the number of stocks she owned, she could have been making as much as little as $5,000 to $10,000 every 4 to 6 weeks. Now, you must remember we're being ultra conservative and assuming only one stock split. In reality, IBM had 3 stock splits at that time. One was June of 79, the next was May of 97, and then the third one was May of 99. So theoretically, she could have had as many as 4,000 shares worth $100 each, or $400,000. She was wealthy and didn't realize it, her broker never told her. In reality, she could have been making $20,000 to $40,000 each and every month using covered call strategies. Yet she was working in a store making keys for maybe about $7 to $8 an hour. Upon hearing that she had inherited 500 shares of IBM about 20 years earlier, I asked her if she'd ever heard of the strategy regarding covered calls. She said no, that her broker never ever told her about it. It's very possible that many of you listening to this story may own stock, and that you could sell call options against your stock, generating income. The thing is though, I'm willing to bet many of you have never talked with your broker or discussed with your broker covered calls. It's time to make money.